Hello my crafty friends, Corrine here from Corrine Crafts. I hope you are well and I hope you have been doing some amazing crafting. Are you getting into your craft space and are you enjoying it? I hope so. Now, a very quick tutorial for you today. It is all about digital crafting. So I thought I would show you, I don't know if you can see that, it's like a floating card, so you can see on there, but it's only part of the circle. I haven't used it all. I'm hoping that you can, if I turn the light, can you see that? There you go. I'm going to show you how I put this together. It's really simple and it's brilliant if you're just starting out on your crafty journey and you don't have a lot of equipment yet. So you could be making cards like this, lots of interest. People love the floating cards, and I'm going to show you how I made it. Well, this one's a little bit different for me. It's not very often I do digital crafting, but I thought, okay, that way around, I thought I would do a little bit of digital crafting today. So I have gone into my Minecraft studio. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do a preface and apologise. This is either from the Minecraft Studio Fantasy Florals, it's the elements out of that, or if I remember rightly, it might have been from the Home Sweet Home 2019 toppers. I don't think it is. I think it's from the Fantasy Florals. I think it's from the element sections of the Fantasy Florals. So if you've got Minecraft Studio, you will know that there is lots of software, lots of images on the Minecraft Craft Studio software that you can print. Now, if you haven't got that, then just find an image that you like and print it out, but print it out twice. Now this is how I've printed it out, and I've printed it out onto some Pro Print paper. I love Pro Print paper because it's different. That side's textured, this side is smooth, this side is the pure white, and you print onto that and it gives you absolute brilliant photo quality. This is 140 GSM, so it's not the thickest cardstock. Let's get that out of the way. So I have got an extra step I need to do. My printer will not take my 220 Print Pro paper. I wish it would. I can't get it to take it at the moment. It's an issue with my printer, not the paper. So I have to print it onto a thinner one and then back it up. So just to show you, this is exactly the same image as that. And I have cut it in half. And all I'm going to do now, because it's only 140, I think if I put glue on, it wouldn't be that good. So I'm just going to get permanent adhesive spray. Make sure your room's ventilated. I'm just going to lightly spray that over the back of there. This is a permanent adhesive, which is what I want. It does give me a little bit of time to adjust it, and then I'm going to put a piece of, this is actually 300 GSM, but you don't need to do it that thick, it's just what I had a piece of, and I'm going to pop that onto there. So now, oops, it's all right, I'm going to cut it out. I don't know what that was. So now this is a lot thicker, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a circle die. Luckily I caught it outside of where I want the circle to go, and at this point it's entirely up to you where you put the circle. There is no problem, you can put it anywhere amongst there, but I'm trying to do it fairly central, and I also like the fact that I've got some of the foliage coming out the sides. And then I need to die cut that, so I'm going to die cut it in my MIDI, and I'll be right back. Right, so that has cut through there, and I can peel it off. Now you'll notice, because it was Print Pro, it can mark very easily, so I just made sure that my tape was, the majority of it was on the outside of the die. So, and always sort of roll the tape off, just because Print Pro can be a bit tricky. Don't need that piece. And I finished with my die. So I've got this gorgeous flower. Now what I have also done is I've cut out another one, and I've cut this to 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. You could go smaller, you could go bigger, it's entirely up to you. And this piece here, because it's exactly the same size, will fit exactly, if I line it up, which takes me a minute to line it up, but that will then fit. And it's actually quite a useful task to do, to line it back up, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Right, so that is, no, it's still not lined up just right. It's probably because I've not got it in the right place. Once it's in the right place, it should, all the elements should line up. There we go. Right, so I've got that line back up. So that fits just like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim this. So what I want to do is I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to draw a line at the top. So I'm going to make sure my sort of a set square type effect. And I'm just going to draw a little line just at the top. Not too far, but making sure it's nice and visible. So you can see that line. And that is on the vertical. And that's going to be quite key in a minute. So I'm going to put that to one side for a minute whilst I put my card together. So you'll have seen on here, I've said my card topper is 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. So my card base, bit bigger card, is 6 1/4 by 8 1/4. So I've just gone up by 1 inch, look. There we go, so it's just 1 inch. And I put a layer of linen card on, and I've just taken out the centre of that linen card. But if you look, I just think that matches really well with some of the greeny blues in there. Not the main greens, but some of the sort of sub greens. Really, really does. So that's going on there. And then onto that, I thought we could put some white. Let me just remind myself what. And then this one is going to go on. That's going to go onto there. So let's put that one on first. So this is just multi-purpose card. If I can pick it back up. And we can put that on. I don't do a lot of digital crafting. I used to demonstrate Minecraft Studio on the TV, on Create and Craft a lot. I was quite a whiz in my day with Minecraft Studio, but it's one of those things, you get rusty with it if you don't use it all the time. So I did enjoy getting it back out and having a go with it. It was good fun. So we can put that onto there. And then I think what I'll do is I'm going to back this one on to here. Now I'm going to blast from the past. Let's see if I can find some finger lift tape. I don't remember the last time I used finger lift tape. Now, one tip for using finger lift tape is cut your finger lift tape, don't tear it. If you cut your finger lift tape, it comes away from your cardstock a lot easier. I don't know the science behind it, but it genuinely does. I think it's the way the fibres lay. It's just so much easier to get released. A lot of people sort of put the finger lift tape on, and then when they get to the end, they sort of tear. It works, but I just find it so much harder to get it to release. But as with any tape, the more you burnish it down, the easier it's going to be to get it to release. Now, the reason I've gone old school with finger lift tape is because if it only been 140 and I don't want it to ruck up. So let's put that on there. Now, this is how I do finger lift tape. I picked this tip up from my lovely friend Pauline when I worked on TV, but it works really well. So take the corners off, and then we take it. I'm just doing the finger. It's called finger lift, but blimey, it's not very often it lifts with your finger, so we tend to use our pokey tools. And then in the opposite corner, I'm just lifting up the two corners. This works with red liner tape, it works with your finger lift tape, it works with any. So all I've done is I've exposed the adhesive in the two corners. So when I get to my topper, that's going to go that way up, yeah, because that's bigger at the bottom. What I'm going to do is, that's the sticky corner, that's the sticky corner. So I'm actually going to keep those out of the way, and I'm just going to line it up on these two corners where the tape hasn't been released. So I'm going to line it up, make sure it's nice and square, put my finger down there, put my finger down, oopsie, it moved, the backing's just, so I'm going to hold it in place. Oh, that one's gone down. Press that one corner, and then I'm going to pull that tape, and I'm going to pull that tape. Once I'm happy, I'm going to hold it down, I'm going to pull that tape, and then I'm going to pull that tape. And that means that I then have my cardstock stuck down really well and nicely square. Can you see? And I haven't rucked it up. So let's put some foam tape on the back. There's going to be 2 layers of foam in this project, but that's absolutely fine. It's, you know, it's a digital crafting. We've got to add texture and, you know, all the extra bits somehow, and I'm going to be doing that with my foam tape. So, you know, you could be adding texture, you could put some paste on the background. It's entirely up to you. There's lots of different ways to add extra interest when you do digital crafting. Now, some people with digital crafting just like it just to focus totally on the image. It's entirely up to you. But do you digital craft? I'd love to know. Some people really enjoy it, and you can really go to town and make some beautiful projects just on using digital images. And you can, if you've got the right sort of printer, you can print out digital images to colour. I've done loads of projects when I did the TV with all different ways to digital craft. Right, so, oops, I don't need that scrappy bit. I'll keep that and make sure my card base is the right way up. So as you'll see, what I've done is when I've positioned this image, when I was cutting it out, I've positioned it so that I've got a bigger gap at the bottom. And that's deliberate. That's so that I can put my sentiment on. I always think it always often looks nicer if it's not totally central. So that is where we're at now. And again, as I would often do, I'm going to get a weighted bit and I'm going to just put that to one side so that everything's sticking down. Right, so I've got this. So if you remember, this has got a mark at the top to show me where the straight line is, because I want to make sure everything's straight. And I'm going to get my paper trimmer and I'm actually going to open it out if I can. There we are. Right, so let's measure this. So I want that straight line and I'm just going to measure it to here. So it's just under 10 centimetres, which is a bit of a, I don't normally do centimetres, but it might be the easiest one. Now I can feel some adhesive? Yes, I'm just using my glue pickup tool. Adhesive does stick to print pro paper, but you can get it off with your glue eraser. There we go. Right, so what I want to do now is I'm going to take this, and you can do it in either way. So I need to make sure that so I've got this on the straight line here. So that's straight, and I'm going to just move it to the 1/2 inch. Now it's all about keeping it square. I did this on my bigger trimmer before and it was a little bit easier to make sure that that's square. I'm just going to grab my ruler and make sure that I'm still square. Once I get in, it's going to be a bit easier. There we go, that is square there. Right, so I've gone to 1/2 inch. I'm going to do my first cut. Should I do my first cut at half? No, I'm going to do my first cut at 3/4. So that's 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to take that down and then I'm going to take my trimmer. Now, if you remember, I've talked about these trimmers. As long as you press nice and firmly, they will cut really well. So once we've taken that first line, and then I'm going to keep it nice and square, and I'm just going to take a small section off. Are we still straight? Is it nice and straight? Take your time with this, don't rush. And I'm just going to take a small strip. Look at that, that's my small strip. Then I'm going to take it back to, I think I'll go to the 1/2 inch this time. Some nice and square. Whoops, 1/2 inch. Now, if you want to, you can always, if you struggle to hold it, you can always put a piece of tape on this side, and that will give you an extra sort of pair of hands. So that will hold that nice and square, look. So I don't know if you can see those. So I've cut, so far what have we cut? We've cut it like that. So it's almost like the floating card technique that I've done before, but it's not really a floating card. So I did, oh, I need to do my small slither now. Let's do another one of the small slithers. If it helps, put your tape on. Remember, this one is actually going to be a wasty piece, so we can put that there. There we go. Take that one off. And then I'm going to come with my next one, making sure that I'm still square. So I've done 3/4 inch, a 1/2 inch. Let's see if I can do another 3/4 inch one. I've got those lines to make sure, you see, look, I'm still nice and square. If you want to just put your tape on to hold it, like your extra pair of hands. I'm burnishing it onto the trimmer, not onto the cardstock. Do a 3/4. I'm going to do one more, I think. Let's then do a thin one. I'm going to do a very, I'm going to make sure it's straight. I'm going to hold it on that side with that. And then let's do one more 1/2 inch to there. Let's hold that down. If you haven't got a paper trimmer like this, if you just got a guillotine, that work. And if you haven't, then you can always turn it over and draw some lines on the back and cut it with your scissors. That'll be absolutely fine. So this piece I'm not actually going to use, which is why it was okay to put that pencil mark on the top. So what I've got now is I've got these pieces. I think that went that way, didn't it? So I've got these pieces, and like I said, I'm not going to be using that one. And I'm going to pop those back onto my card. So let's find where my card was. It's under here. And we need some foam tape. And I'm just going to use my Sticks 2 foam tape. So I'm going to get my first one. I'm just going to put a piece of foam tape on the back. Foam pads, foam tape, it's entirely up to you. I actually put 2 pieces on this one because this one's my thicker one. This is the 3/4. Now you can either do them all the same width, or you could do them variable widths like I've done. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to take that off from here. I'm going to put a little bit of PVA on to give me time to move it around, because I know I'm going to need it. And then I'm going to line that back up. So I've got a white one, I've got a red one, and I think, let me have a look. I think that is perfect. So I'm going to discard that one. I'm going to get this one. Let's pop a piece of tape in the middle. Now remember, this one was just 1/2 inch wide, so I'm only going to go in with 1 piece of tape. And we're going to take that off. What I love about this is all the different shapes. So my card is rectangular, my image is oval, and my die cuts are circular. So I just think it's a little bit of fun. So let's then just, I have to lift it up so I can see both ways. Line that up. Now, the other way to do this would be to put this onto some acetate and then just attach the acetate. I'll get rid of that one. So let's do this. I think I'll need 2 pieces for this one because it's a thicker piece. So let's put 1 piece just here and 1 piece just here. Yeah, you could glue these flat onto some acetate and then just put the foam tape behind the acetate if you find it easier. Because then you could actually just use these as these spare pieces as a guide to know where, to line everything up. It's entirely up to you. There's lots of different ways. So this is that way round. And you can see why I put the glue on, because it definitely helps. Am I lined up? That's not a bad guess. Now the only top tip or the main top tip I would give for you with this is make sure you cut these straight, because my first one, that was sort of like, will this work? I didn't actually get as far as making the card. So I just need to press those down. I didn't cut them straight. It looked like a dog's dinner. It really didn't look very good at all. So like one of my strips was a bit wonky and it looked dreadful. Look really dreadful. And then we're going to take the last one. It's a narrower one, so we shall go with just 1 strip, but actually it's quite a long one, this one, because we're right at sort of the widest part of the circle just before it goes back. Okay, and again I've done it like as I've mentioned, it's on Pro Print, so the glue just stays wet for just that little bit longer, so just be careful you don't knock it. And then we can put that onto there, and then this one, oh, that way around. Let's drop that down, then I can lift it up just to see. I'm just making sure all of the elements line up before I press it down. And that, look, what I love about this is I've not done this one. You could do that one. Now this might drive you crackers by not doing it. You might think you want this last one. This was the whole point, is I only wanted, oops, part of the circle to be the floating element. I didn't want the whole thing. Let me check if that's still straight. Yes. Isn't that? Can you see that effect? So we've got that floating element, but we've just got part of the circle. I think that is a really, really clever effect. Okay, so what I've then done, if I glued that down, yeah, I've done myself a congratulations, so I think I might put that down at the bottom. Let's put that down here. Could I have made this a bit smaller? Possibly. I possibly could, but I think, I don't know about you, I tend to go a little bit big sometimes, because I could have put that across the middle, but I wanted to put this down here. And I love that it's the same colour back there, ties it in. Now I could have cut this card off at that sort of point, but no, I think I like the bigger bit. That sort of gives me the same sort of height there as I've got there. So no, I think that does work. And then the final little bit I'm going to do is I've got some gems, again from one of my old craft kits. I think I'm going to go in with the middle size on these, not the smallest. But I don't have that many of them, so let's go one. Oh, come on. I'm trying to make sure that they don't flip off into the ether, which is what I'm prone to doing. What I could do is put that one there, and then that one there. There. Oh no, I need to bring that one down a little bit. Get that off in a minute. I've just now need to put a tiny bit more. Now I'm going to go back where I've just put it because I've left a gluey mark. Have the courage of your convictions, Corrine. Have the courage of your convictions. And there you go. That is my digital crafting. That is using an image, a printed image. You could have any. You could do it from a paper pack. You could do it from anywhere. But then doing the shadow effect, the floating circle effect, but only actually using part of the circle. You could do this out of a paper pad. It could be a pattern. It doesn't have to be a design. But I love the shapes. Like I said, I've got the rectangle, I've sort of got the oval, and I've got the part circle. So I just think it really, really works lovely. I love the composition of this one. There you are. Do you digital craft? Is this something that you are likely to do, or are you more of a, you know, an inks and things person? I like to give you lots of different types of crafting. As you notice, if you've been following my videos for a while, my videos are all very, very different, but it's just nice to try different things. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I'd love to know what you think. Is it something that you would try? Really simple, but sometimes simple is the best. I'll leave the link, see if I've got anything else digital crafting, I'm not sure, but I'll leave a link on the left and also a link to the subscribe button on the right, and whatever I can find to link to down in the bottom, definitely to some foam tapes and some glues and things like that. Not too many dies used today, just the circle die. The rest is all being done by paper trimmer. So again, if If you are starting out on your crafty journey and you don't have a lot of equipment, you just got some basic regular dies, then this might be something that you could try. So until next time, my crafty friends, you take care. Please don't forget to click on the links down in the bottom, and please don't forget to click on the other videos or the subscribe. I love to see the subscribers. And until next time, my crafty friends, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back very, very soon. But until then, bye for now.